Hey, second grade, welcome back to another math lesson. This week we are going to be talking all about time. And since we already started talking about time back at school, we are going to have a good start. Some of this is going to be review for you, and some of it is going to be new stuff. So I'm excited to get into it. Today we are going to be talking all about o'clock and 30. I know. We did that in class. That's okay. We're going to review it because the more we practice it, the faster you will be at telling time in the real world. So, before we look at what time is on our clock, let's review our hands. So we know our short hand is pointing at the hour it is, and our minute hand is pointing at, or our long hand is pointing at the minute it is. And I like to remember this by thinking about us growing. We start out small, and then we grow taller. So we're going to look at the small hand, which is our hour, and then we're going to look at our minute hand, which is the long one, okay? Looking at small, then bigger. Now let's practice that with our clock. So if we look at our clock right now, we can see that our hour hand is our small red hand. And if I draw a little dotted line to check, I can see that it's pointing right at the 1. So we know that we're in the hour of 1. Now let's look at our minute hand. Our minute hand, we don't really need to write a dotted line because it's our long hand, so it's closer to the time it is, and you can tell exactly where it's at. So I can see our minute hand is pointing up at the 12. Does that mean we are at 1:12? No, you've got it. It's at the beginning of our hour. So if you look at our little blue number, we are at 0 minutes or o'clock. So after those two dots, I am going to draw my o'clock or my minutes. So as you can see on my digital clock, I put my hour before my two dots, and then I put my minutes after my two dots. Now let's try this with another time. All right, so I'm going to draw this with black arrows just because you guys are so good at time. I don't think you need the color coded anymore. So I'm going to draw my minute hand or my hour hand. Minute hand. All right, second grade. So now we have a new time. First, we're going to look at our hour hand. So I'm going to bring it down. Ooh, and I see it's between 3 and 4. Do you remember what we would pick? Would we pick 3 or 4? Yes, we would pick 3. And that is because our minute hand hasn't made it all the way around our clock, so we can't say it's 4 o'clock yet. As our minute hand moves, if you look at a clock, you'll notice your hour hand is moving with it. So by the time it gets back to 12, the minute hand or the hour hand is pointing at the next hour. So when we're in between two numbers, you always go back to the smaller number, okay? So we have 3, and then our minute hand is pointing down. Now I'm sure you can already see with our little number that means it is 30. Now let's remember why that is. Why when our long minute hand is pointing at the 6, why does that mean 30? You guys remember everything because every number is an interval of 5 minutes. Because you'll see if you look at these little dashes, there is 5 dashes between each number. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on and so on. So instead of counting all those little dashes, which equal 1 minute, it's just easier to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and we're right at 30. Let's do one more together. So what are we going to look at first? Absolutely, we're going to look at the hour hand, which is our short hand. Now you don't have to do dashes, but sometimes it's easier. Most of the time you can see just by looking, okay, it's there. Now my hour hand is exactly between my 9 and my 10. So where do I go? You guys got it. We go at the 9, the smaller number. Now let's look at our minute hand. Our minute hand is pointing down to the 6, which we know is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So our time is 9:30. All right, second grade, you are about ready to go on to your assignment. I know you're probably pretty excited because I'm sure most of you can already look at a clock, and without even counting by fives, you can tell if your minute hand is at the 30 or at the o'clock.